Waar ik het naar te win, te oordeel, what they call greatness. What killed a man who was as much as I was said to be made me then, boy. What killed a man who was as much as I was said to be made me then, boy.
Die Wahrheit über theory from the pit aber. The truth about theory of the male heir.
Oh, we see it, don't we? The excuses.
Heir.
We're selling this because we are moving. Or we are selling it because our daughter has left home.
Yeah.
But when you see an item, and you have to believe it, don't you, that says, we are selling this piano, which we bought recently, because we bought it thinking it was a baby grand. and found out that it wasn't. Well, they don't tell you that it found out that it wasn't, do they? I mean, any more than if you, for instance, weren't married.
Yeah.
And you had, for instance, born out of wedlock. Exactly.
Yeah.
What's it all about, Alfie?
That she admired him when he wanted she to be a film star. There was no measure by his suave confidence. And that sat the mind of Benito Mussolini, the Italian emperor who ended up traitor brand to his own people. That who could afford this a cappuccino Windsor made that truth about Harry Boy.
Is it just for the moment we live? What's it all about when you sort it out, Alfie? Are we meant to take more than we can give? Or are we meant to be kind? And if only fools are kind, Alfie, then I guess it's wiser to be cruel.
If you would more likely tell them that this grand would befit any home. Doing nothing was how they conceded big victory. It was silenced by the architects of ruin. Mein Führer to Herbert Rosendorfer to Dr. Rolf Deutschland, they call me the singer now. And that's why she sing it. Die onheerde reis, sie kind brochig, das ist du. Your life you want to see nothing. And pass times kann give it mein Volk all you've got. Ha! So, to the truth, Terry boy, Mr. Mayor Air. I will say how much we hated your piano. Thank me, played of yours. It reminded us of Chopin, her boyfriend George said, well, not anyone would pay her. And I don't tell you, only became enhanced up the bank from the appreciation at the church cemetery ceiling. We will certainly not be buying from you again. She's soft, and maybe you'll need a prime minister like Miss Albert Einstein, who left plays the violin and talks about the relative dynamics. Then again, she's never paid for it as much as she did for nothing, don't she? We will not remember you and the good riddance. Indeed, I had a friend once called Luca. He was Italian and had one of the very old Citroen traction Avant, produced from the 1934 to 1957. I always admired by smartly dressed Italian that there was every indication from his business genius that his brilliance would be mirrored in the shine of his car. People would not want it to be known how ignorance goes before a fall. going to the bank for it, that is for certain. Good luck to you, and Happy New Year.
The Mark IX Spitfire stayed in production long after its performance was outshone by other marks. By the war's end, 5,739 Spitfire Mark IXs had been built. Perhaps the most reminiscent version of the Mark IX, the most prolific version, was the Mark IX seaplane. The Mark IX seaplane, which was tested on water in 1943, never went into production. It was, however, the ultimate derivation of that back to the Schneider trophy, for which British racing legend designer Reginald J. Mitchell had produced for the Supermarine Company to take part in the Schneider Trophy competition of 1931, and the F6B represented the culmination of Mitchell's quest to perfect the design of the racing seaplane, the cutting edge of technology in aerodynamics. The next important Spitfire development after the Mark IX came with the Spitfire Mark XIV, which was a derivation of that tested in that the Griffin-powered Mark XIV had its 65 Rolls-Royce Griffin engine, previously powering the 1941 then experimental Spitfire Mark IV, that produced the greatest possible engine of the start of the final era of the breed of Spitfire, in that this machine, this engine, did not just produce 1,000 or 11 or 1,200 horsepower. It produced 2,035 horsepower. 2,035 horsepower gave the Mark XIV a top speed of 439 miles an hour with a maximum ceiling height of 43,000 feet. She admired him when he wanted She to be himself. There was no measure by his suave confidence. That sat the minds of Benito Mussolini, the Italian emperor who ended up traitor brands to his own people. That who could afford this a cappuccino Windsor made their truth about Harry Boy. But who are one's own people? When I remembered my father, he was literally
I remember they were waiting for Benito to come back after a Nazi party. I threw him. But he never played Chopin or even talk about Poland. About her car, the Queen was a large affair. Small is popular, you may guess. If you overlook the likelihood of getting the lift from a Führerbahn, you feel the two Lufthansa Forerunner. Yeah, why? She would be no one to play wait for performance for my sake. You can see me the yours one, simple. It is down to them now. Be biased. The field affects my hammer. My hammer is unlike the stolen invention of magnetic relativity in that of Edwin Hall. I have not yet had my musical ability stolen, as he had his invention stolen 130 years later by electric ignition. Having a good day is more, isn't it, that the television news explain about carrier relativity? Not proved. Have a nice day. I am a better musician than Einstein, who's given the theory of relativity, but no one pays me for it. They only want to ruin me because I become better piano sellers. But my father was the greatest cornetist composer who ever lived. It was fate that created this feat, that sent him to the other side, they said. When we're like losing. But people, I mind the folk, only judge me by what I say. They will not pay for the finest cars and bikes, pianos. Indeed, eBay does not even like me. That is why they made me limited. Limited, that is not a company. That is a restriction, like the Nuremberg war crime. No one gives me credit for a father, the finest cornetist composer in the world who ever lived. And he only had 150 years to prove it. Whereas your monarchy even had not even barely millennium, barely 500 years to prove that it is a traitor to its own country. And the president or the great dictator, who they claim was so great dictator, they were deposed, yes. And who deposed them? You think they did it themselves? So, mein Vater, corporate corruption, this is what they work for in the Fleet Street that would never be expressed by theories of relativity. The theories of relativity prove, that is, they only want to rape and steal from her, that they would need not then to prove anything, or prefer it to be unproven in Einstein's own lifetime. That they did. And they would prefer now, in truth, to hear the violin. The reason they do not have the souls in heaven is because they are sadists. As an undergraduate, and more cannot earn a living paying to even deserve it. Then they limit the best by price and what they cannot sell. They call that justice. Justice. Have a good day. Reckoning. It's not logic, is it? As it is the law. The truth about Terry Boy, Mr. Mary. Damn. It's music to my ears.
The Mark 14 was the ultimate construction of World War II. and last till the end of the war, when the Mark 18 became introduced. The Mark 18, which was introduced as a strengthened, upgraded version of the Mark 14 and introduced just as the Second World War came to an end, was the ultimate development of the plane. Subsequent Marks, the Marks 21 to 24, had little in common with the earlier aircraft airframe and were almost completely new. In Malaya in 1954, the Mark 18E was in service in the RAF in Malaya and had little in contrast to any degree of similarity to Reginald Mitchell's initial wing design and airframe. That flew in the last sorties of RAF service. It was the end of an astonishing 16 years, the longest development in the evolution of aero service, which in itself is an extraordinary tribute to the longevity and the longest tribute to aviation in the whole of the history of military and air service.
There's a heaven above, Elsie. Oh, there's something much more, something even lovers unfortunately can believe in. I believe in love. Oh, please. Without true love, we just can't exist. What's it all about? and you'll find love any day. Healthy.
Il messaggio della vittoria di ambito con la posta e l'era. Quindi siamo stati in grado di risolvere la questione del Luca e la regla se avessimo avuto più giustizia a Benito Mussolini da sull'Africa del Nord filigrani. The message from Hamburg, Syria, with the mail here. Right, then we were always able to settle the question of Luca and the suitcase if we had more faith in Benito Mussolini to get it wrong about North Africa and Sidi Barani. To even so much as measure. That has to be done to you, who are looking for something perhaps for your lounge. But my pianos are much more than that. I chose them to be the finest performing instruments. I don't know about the music that you make, and I never heard much of Chopin or Liszt. That's why I write my own. Fernando Ray signing off. Memories of Silberman, of Bartolomeo Cristofori, and Ferdinando de' Medici. Nothing in a large world where everything is known about everything and everyone can sustain as much surely for any production of any piano in the home as much as it did when there was more in the 17th century. Such greater desire to make it. I bid you good luck on your search. Fernando Ray.